So Mastery Pack Guardian formally releases this weekend, and with the set now fully revealed, there are actually some pretty impactful additions to our budget formats. New equipment, new tools, and some pretty significant D-rarities. So today, let's chat the budget format impacts from Mastery Pack Guardian. You're watching Budget Format Fab on Dice Commando, your BFF for all things in budget flesh and blood. Coming to you midweek each week, these videos are possible thanks to the support of our channel members. If you want to get involved with the channel and join us on our community Discord, please consider joining as a member. You can be our BFF and show your support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving a comment. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my budget format fab friends. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in today, talking Mastery Pack Guardian set to release this weekend, because there is a number of things out of this that look pretty darn good, and we also got some non-insignificant de-raritization. So let's go ahead and just go through this. I am over at Fabry. We're going to be kind of clicking on some of the stuff as we go down, and I left it here for the logo, but I actually want to go down to where the commons start to start our discussions, because I wanted to start with the de-raritizations. De-rarities, I think it's de-raritizations. Either way, there's some pretty big ones. So let's just go right down here to Disable. So full rainbow of Disable has been reprinted as a common. This was originally a rare, so it was there for the Project Blue stuff, but now it's good for commoner. And this is a big deal, honestly, because of this one, I think. The blue version. Folks have been playing, I've been playing Wallop, because it was a fourth blue 6. So that's really the only reason, but it's a 5-drop. So here we go. Done. I think that's enough said on this one. At the very least, I think you're playing the blue. I don't know if the 5 makes it in commoner to the red is what I mean. But for the blue over Wallop, yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. Okay, next one is Thunderquake. Also exists in the full arc. Same argument on the blue. This one's a little different because it's the 6, but bringing Heave, to be fair, there's a lot of other things that bring Heave to commoner now, but Thunderquake being de-raritized, I think there's a very real argument for the red. Obviously depending on your build, but I think folks are going to figure out how to make this work. But, by and large, with maybe a handful of janky exceptions that we never really saw, you don't really see that many seismics within the budget formats, or at least I should say, we hadn't yet, and I think this set definitely changes that. Okay, now going back to the top, just because it's equipment related, I did want to point out, it doesn't matter, right? Because obviously you can use rare equipment, but Steel Braid Buckler has been made a common now instead of a rare. Not relevant, at least under the current scheme of how equipment is used, and fair enough. And then I also wanted to point out one thing just for details and bookkeeping to clarify, because, a lot of budget format fab folks are relatively new or comparatively new. Macho Grande here has been reprinted as a rare. Does not matter. It will always be on the lowest rarity. It's not like you can't use this one and you have to use the other one. You can use the new art. This will count as a common for the purposes of commoner. And if you're in PJB, peanut butter jelly, don't care. Now, last one I want to talk about is Embolden. So this one could maybe be a thing. So Embolden was a rare. It was Tales of Aria. And it's right. Yeah, it was Tales of Aria. Yes. It's got ice on it. It's got to be, right? So this also was a rare. This one's just interesting. I don't know where you're coming up with all the money for this. I think you want to go with Earthlore Empowerment or something like that if you're trying to do this thing. But it's interesting. All right, it is interesting. Because remember, it's non-token aura. All right, so you got to have... Interesting. Yeah. Anyway, that is it that I was able to identify. If I did miss any, please let me know in the comments below. But obviously, the most... Thunderquake and Disable is not irrelevant at all. Those are pretty big. So... now, as we go into the new card, Jess will start at the top with that one you see there on the right. Don't worry about it. But I did want to point out that something interesting about the rares is that a lot of them, they start here. Let's just pull up this one for S's and G's, right? a lot of the rares are Guardian matchup specific. They either are focused on when you're attacking Guardians or when you're defending Guardians or something to that end, right? That's a lot of the rares are like that. Not all of them, not all of them. There's a couple rares that are worth talking about from a peanut butter and jelly perspective. That's a joke for Project Blue, in case you're not familiar. But by and large, there's a lot of rares we can just kind of skip over here for that very reason. It's not that it's not playable. It's just I don't really know why you would. Okay, so let's just start. This card, Richter Scale, is a common. So very playable. Right, so this is Battle Worn 1 with an action, destroy this, create 2 seismic surge. Right, so I talked a couple weeks ago about, the title of the cast was Risk of Project Blue, but one of the thing in there, the moral of the story was that I was afraid they'd be creeping it a little and putting it in behind special product paywalls. That was the moral of the story. But in that video, I talked about how the lowest hanging fruit of place that they would likely go is battle worn equipment with abilities. Now, obviously, this was already in flight, independent of the whole thing. Right? This was in flight before Blue, right? So completely independent of the whole thing. But this is the type of equipment that I think we're going to see, and I think a lot of us want to see across a lot of the classes. So even with that said, this having Battle Worn 1, and then being able to pop it to create 2 seismic surge, I think this is really interesting, right? Because in the vast, Old Knocker is the popular one right now, but it had been Blossom of Spring or Hardened Cross Wrap or whatever. Usually you're popping it on that turn for what you want to do. This one requires setup, but you get a lot more value out of it because, again, Battle Worn 1, pop it for the next turn, right? But what's interesting is it doesn't have go again. So this is a very interesting little one. I think we're gonna have to keep our eyes on this. I think this one's good. I believe it's good. But let me know if you agree. Right? The fact it doesn't have go again, regarding the setup, are you trying to do this with a heave? I don't know. But at the very least, those 2 seismics can convert in theory to a free Bravo Dominate or a free Bravo thing. Flattering Bravo. Okay. So very interesting there. Now, card from a rare standpoint that I do think is interesting is Aftershock. So when this attacks, if you've controlled a seismic token this turn, create a seismic surge token, right? So remember, even if one popped and you used that resource this turn, you did control it because it's at the beginning of your turn, right? So that would work here. Use it to fuel, it kind of becomes a 3 that backfills itself for the next turn. I don't know, right? With everything you have available in Project Blue, does this make the cut? I don't know. Let me know what you think below, but I think that one's pretty neat. I do have to give an honorable mention here to Little Bigfoot. I like this card. There's the whole arc of it. They all have 3, and then it's a +6, +5, +4, if you're basically doing the Anothos thing. This is cool. I guess it's sneaky with Pummel is the plan. But I don't know if this makes the cut just because it's not a popper, and I'm not saying that that's the end all be all, but I do think that's I don't know if this makes it in. I kind of like it because you can in theory nimbleism it and stuff, right? Now this card obviously for the new what's his name Lycanus or whatever the new dwarf is from Smash Palace, or not Smash Palace, sorry, Super Slam. That's interesting for him, right? So we'll have to keep an eye on this guy. I gotta love the dwarf stuff. All right, so the rest of these are all again Guardian type stuff for the most part, but those were the ones I thought were interesting. Okay, now let's go into new commons. Clash of Mountains, and I'll click on specifically the blue because for the aforementioned reason of the other 2, Disable and Thunderquake, this falls into the same thing. Now it's effectively blank in most matchups. I guess you could maybe get a seismic surge out of it in the right. This card's not going to look at it. It does everything you want it to do in terms of it's a blue, it blocks 3, it's a popper. It does everything you want it to do. The question is, now that we have, would you have played this over Wallop? The answer is yes, in my opinion. Would you have played it over Disable or Thunderquake? I don't know. Right, I don't think you would, but I do like this card, and again, it's a blue 6, so That's good. That's really, really, really good. All right, so we have Flatten the Field. I don't think this one's relevant. So it's because it's that Guardian hate, same idea. Now, Grind Them Down, I do think, I don't know that this one is necessarily quote unquote good, but I do think that I do think there's potential here, right? We talked about Guardian Mill, it was last Friday, and it would be a thing or not. In Commoner, there's not really a lot of it, or even in I shouldn't say Commoner, I should say Budget. Probably not a ton of support for that, but this could be very interesting in terms of like setting something up. There's no shortage of like fatigue plays with like Oldhim that we've seen, and Terra to that point in the Budget format. So that could work. Now, Rabble Rouser, I like this card. Okay. Again, it brings Heave. It's only Heave 2, which is interesting, but what's neat about the Heave 2 is that, in theory at least, right, you could drop a 4, have the 2 floating, and then Heave this. Now, that'd be a 4-card play, but, you do something like that on an opening. It's not that different than, like, to play in Blitz of, like, getting the aura, doing the aura tutors and getting yourself set up for, like, a Pulverize or something. I know it's not the same, but from like a functional standpoint, like trying to do something big and set yourself up going into your turn 1. I think that, you do it on turn 0. I don't know. I think it's interesting. The Heave 2 working off of a 4, I think, because like the Heave 3, if you're basically just like swinging hammer and heaving in that case, and that would still be a 3-card hand. So I think this could work. I think it could work. All right. Now, a card, I don't know about this card yet. I think this card's really fascinating. So, Overswing. So, for 2, the next Guardian attack action card you play, it's +3. Go again, but you can heave this. But remember, the seismics that you create would not help to play this. So, basically, if you heave this, it becomes an effective Nimbleism. Except not. Well, it becomes a +3 pump. Let's just say it that, because right, Nimbleism has a restriction. But you pay 2 on the turn before. Maybe you swing hammer. Maybe you throw a 4 off 2 blues, and then again you're looking at a 4-card hand, right? Because and then you heave it is what I'm saying, right? I don't know. This one's very interesting, but interesting in like the I don't know. I really like the idea of the heave though, because it becomes so like, and like my head's on the pump and thump here, right? But then again, if this one's in your arsenal, you don't know that you're going to pump. You don't know that you're going to get what you need for the pump and thump. So this probably doesn't end up working, but I kind of really like the card, if that makes sense, right? I don't know that it's going to work, but I really, really like the concept of having heave on things that aren't just big attacks. I think that's kind of fascinating. So we'll have to see how that plays out. All right, now let's go down to some of the really good stuff. Crash and Bash is so good as a common. When it defends, reveal a card with Crush from your hand. If you do, create a seismic. So what this means is if you have Crash and Bash and a blue and a 4 Crush in your hand, you can now, and then any other card, you can defend this and play that 4 Crush off of your, I mean, and it could be anything, but my point is that would have to have Crush to be able to show, is my point. I mean, I suppose the blue could have Crush, actually. That's fair. The blue could have Crush, and you could just have a regular 4. That would work. That's fair. But this is super good. This is super good. I'm playing it in my Flattering Bravo Blitz deck. It's good, right? I think it's good. I think it's good. I do want to comment on the Sunk Water series that looks like it's left over from High Seas, in my opinion. But they all say the similar thing. It's when it defends, put a face-up card from your arsenal on the bottom, and if you do, draw a card, gets +1, Blade Break. So this is kind of really interesting with, like, if you're going heave heavy, because the fact that this lets you draw a card... Yeah, I don't know, right? And like I guess to the point earlier about the non-attack heave, right? What was it again? It was Overswing, right? So you could have that in there, and then you could cycle it if you didn't get an attack or something, because that's happened, right? you heave or you draw an all red hand or whatever it may be, right? You kind of get a little cycling there. So this series is interesting. Yeah, I mean, they all do the same thing, but they definitely look like they were left over from High Seas. And that's it. Iron Rot makes its way back, but that's really cool from a CSP standpoint. I really like that. So all in all, if we actually go count the raw cards, I think the biggest impact's actually the de-raritizations, aside, of course, from what we just talked about, which is Crash and Bash. Crash and Bash is pretty huge, and I think Richter Scale is pretty huge. I get the drawback there, but you know, there's no shortage of Guardians that are trying to do like the pump pull type thing. I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, to be fair, right? Just running good old Blade Breck in her chest gets you 2 block. But this could change things. I don't know. Let me know what you think. It's going to end it for me today. Remember, Mastery Pack Guardian this weekend. And if you're able to find it, should be a good time. So we'll see. Let me know what you're thinking. And go Commando.